That's what we were gardening yesterday and I got.
I can see the birds. Looks like when you.
That was the first question I got. Yeah. Why do you like, do you hit something? No, I didn't hit something.
Is my camera not working?
But it's a much better story.
And she's like, yeah, I see it all the time.
Yeah.
Medical practice.
Should it be on
Walk
Meeting
your
Owl
way.
camera?
Yeah.
It should, right?
Okay, well, you start getting these.
So it's showing there, but it's not showing on my computer.
Like, you don't even.
Oh, I usually know. Yeah.
I agree. Scanning gets in.
Is it?
Because it's connected
Owls, yeah.
on my app.
I wonder what it looks like on YouTube. Oh, it's on YouTube. So, okay. We're good. Let me get back to the right screen. Oh, it's because I have two different things. It's working there. Okay. I think we're good. Oh, I did already. She must have sneaked out on that.
Here I am.
All right. So we have 5 of you, correct? Yep. Okay.
Are you ready?
I think we're good. Fine.
Let's call this meeting to order, 12:06 p.m. Introductions and agenda changes. The first order of business, I'm Barbara Cappy. I am currently the chair of the COB board, and I am Small Cities in the Door Corporation.
Adrian DeLeon, and I'm representing Coos Bay outside city limits.
Jenny Brownfield, and I'm the deputy director of. I'm the director of Exciting Library. Kathy Larkin Johnston, chair of Small Libraries.
It's following you.
Representing North Bend.
Hey, Lee Legacy, North Bend Public Library Director.
Teresa Lucas, Oak Hill Public Library Director, just left the dentist. Sorry, I'm late.
Stacy Nick, Extended Service Office Administrator.
It's on time, actually.
Yeah.
Okay,
We just did
and does anybody have agenda changes?
We've got these guys.
Oh, sorry. Amy?
I'm Amy Bruno. I'm the director of Myrtle Point.
Letty, director of the Durham Public Library.
Lori Nordahl, North Bend outside city limits, and I apologize, my camera is not working.
Oh, now does anybody have agenda changes? Nope. Okay, well, time to look at the minutes from the September 23rd, 2024 minute meeting. Anybody have comments? Motions?
I make the motion to accept the minutes.
Have a motion on the floor. Is there a second?
This is Lori, I second.
To approve the minutes of September 23rd, 2024. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? We could probably skip right over public comment.
We have no public.
Yeah. Anybody have old business? Do you have anything?
Nope. stuff prepping for the commissioners meeting, which will then roll down into parts of the new business.
Okay, so new business, ESO FY fiscal year 2026 budget review.
All right, so let me hit record on this too, so I have it two spots. Let me pull up the budget so that everybody can see it. Nope. See if it's the packet's easier to read on the computer. Let's see. Yeah, I'm working on it because you can't read it. They all printed out when I noticed, and I'm like, I'm not wasting more paper. So let's see. Open. Okay. So. Okay, so. I guess it helps if I share my screen. Technology work, please. Why is it not? Is it doing?
That's kind of interesting.
Wow.
Oh, no, it just all went away.
Like two mirrors.
Yeah.
That's not okay.
I know, it's very Star Wars.
Oh, no. Now my whole screen went blank. I will find it. Sorry. This is ridiculous. Just open it. There it is. Now, hopefully. Where's the freeze or full screen? Okay, well. It's here. I was trying to make it bigger, but. So our carryover is estimated to be 350, and that's the contingency from last year plus whatever is left over from the budget, estimated to be left over from the budget. 813, 824 is what we are planning to pull for ESO from the county funds. And the reason it's substantially higher than last year is because our carryover is less. Down. There was a change that finance just got to me, and this one, the employee insurance was, they estimated 11% or 10%. insurance agent and they said 11%. So it was like a $682 difference. So I pulled that, I deducted that from our contractuals and then added it in here. So the amount that we will be taking is the same. Then, pretty much everything. There's really wasn't a whole lot of changes. I'll go through these down below so you can see each of the different, maybe. Training budget. That stayed the same, and this is for staff development day, which we haven't done, but the directors have been talking. We haven't done actually since COVID, a countywide one. We've been discussing different ways on how to implement that this year. We've kind of been discussing doing more of a virtual style with training videos that everybody would have access to. The thing with how we've done it in the past, all of the libraries close for the day and we go to Bandon and we do like breakout sessions. And there always seems to be during one time slot, 2 or 3 different sessions that you would like to attend. And then the next time slot, there's nothing that is relevant for you. So with doing the training videos, the directors can have their staff go in and, watch one video a month or whatever. And so they will be constantly training all year round. And then having a smaller, like even half day with some keynote speakers where everybody will get together in Bandon, hopefully. And just have a couple of keynote speakers and it'll just be so that way libraries can open either before or after, depending on what time we do it. So that's what that is for. And I just kept it the same as it's been in the past, no changes. That's not true. One is,
Looks like it's.
oh, food.
200 less.
I dropped food 200. I don't know why it's not tallied on the end there, but food did drop $200. And then, yeah.
You go back.
Yeah.
This ESO scholarships.
Yes, we actually haven't done those in a while. I think probably since COVID, and it's any staff member at any of the libraries can apply for a scholarship, and it's to go. We usually use it for like OLA, right?
That's what
Yeah.
it's used most frequently for in the past, but you're right that it hasn't been administered.
In a while. Yeah. So that's on me. I
Is
just,
directors included in staff.
I think we have in the past, yeah.
How do people apply for this?
That's a good question.
There used to be an application.
And a form, yeah.
And I don't remember off the top of my head, like, all the formality of reviewing it and selecting the candidate. But there is a deadline. So it hasn't been awarded for a long,
It's been several years, yeah.
yeah, I don't think since 2019.
Is that something that you have the stuff to put out for?
No, but Haley does, apparently. I mean, I'm sure we do in some of Jennifer's old files, but
Yeah.
that's not something that I've come across, so.
So it's not something that we would use for this OLA season, but next year.
It's actually in the budget. So, I mean, if we could get it together quick, then we could, because it's coming up, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so,
Yeah, it's pretty.
It might be something we should just plan on waiting and using next year.
I can look that up.
Yeah, because that doesn't give enough time to tell staff to.
right,
to do-
right. And then make the reservations and everything
Yeah.
for that.
The hotels are already booking up.
Okay. This one is for OLA. First section is for the ESO director to attend OLA. I've done them virtually in the past. I haven't went to the conferences. So my fees are less than that. But then again, what's not used will just roll over the next year. So I don't know if we should make any changes to that or just kind of leave it as is. Once we remove something from the budget, it's hard to put it back. So that's kind of why we just kept it. And then PNBA is where we used to scout the tidal wave author. And last year, Haley, you went with a couple of your staff members, or you sent a couple of staff
I
members?
did, yeah, I sent a couple of staff members.
And we kind of all,
Okay. Let's see. The library district has maintained the membership. Therefore, we have free registration to attend the trade show. And my library attended the trade show and we paid for our own expenses to do that.
correct. These expenses here are for the ESO director. I don't tend to go to that because I'm not a librarian, so it's more beneficial. So we could, whichever director's chosen to go this next year, this travel expenses could go towards that.
I think the reason that we decided to cover the expenses from the North Bend budget was because we weren't scouting for an author visit that would
Oh, that's
benefit the
true.
library district.
But did you come back and share some of the information with the other
We
libraries?
have that still to share. It was right before we closed for renovation. And I've got 2 carts full of materials in the agreement North Bend.
Could be that's an advantage to the entire district that's you sent for one.
So, is the conference name Tidal Wave Conference or?
No, it is a trade show for the industry, the publishing industry. And
Oh,
so
okay.
they have presentations on the publishing industry. Some are geared towards booksellers. They do usually have at least a half day of content for librarians. And then there are lots of meet and greet opportunities for you to meet authors from the region. And
Yeah, it's the Pacific Northwest Book Association, right?
booksellers.
Booksellers Association. So it's all authors from the Pacific Northwest.
Oh, I get it. Okay.
Yeah. It's just it wasn't always an easy way for us to get in front of a couple of authors and kind of feel them out on their presentation styles to pick them for our tidal wave. And later on, I'll get more into that, but we're still foregoing tidal wave and using those funds for the summer reading programs.
So it sounds like this convention is useful in other ways. If one person went.
I would say so.
Yeah.
It's just a comment.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then the dues portion is for our ALA, which is the American Library Association, OLA, which is Oregon Library Association, and the PNBA. Those are just the annual dues that each of those do. And that covers, I don't know how OLA and ALA work. That doesn't cover the district on those?
No, those are
That's just for ESO. And then PNBA covers everybody, all the staff, all the directors, everybody in the district. Okay, contractual. This one I put a little bit more work into this year, and that's why you'll see some that weren't showing in the budget last year, but are this year. Some of them I added in the middle of the year, like Adobe. That was, the city's always covered my Adobe account and they decided that they didn't want to cover it anymore. So they asked me to get my own. This is for ESO. Yeah. Yep. And it's mainly what I use it for is redacting material when needed. But so that is a new one that's on there. Biblioteca, that was just left over from when we did the RFID stuff. Cloudflare, is we had it last year. Most of the library's domains are housed there in Cloudflare. That's where our IT department, the site they use to house them. Not all of them are though, but I think they're slowly switching them over. So ESO's kind of taken over the fees for those annual renewals for those sites, the domains through Cloudflare. And I think right now I have Coos, I have 2 ESO ones, and I have Coos Bays, I think. I don't have Haley's. I don't know why yours hasn't been switched over there. So budgeted for all of them because I'm thinking as they keep coming up through executive tech, they'll be transferring over. And librarian, same. Most of these are just increases, just percentage increases that they have every year. Let's see, there's a couple, let's see. Fax pipe, I didn't factor it into the budget last year, but we had fax pipe last year, and that's the e-faxing for all of the libraries. Hoopla we have in there, we've discussed different ways that ESO can pay for basic Hoopla accounts for all of the libraries, and we're still kind of trying to figure that out because every library would have a different size subscription. Some would just have the base, some could add more to it. So it's kind of, at this point, it's kind of been logistically kind of a nightmare. So I've kind of just been pushing that back. But that's still something that we're keeping there in case we can get that going. LastPass is my password secure thing for myself, for ESO director. New resources, we always have that there in case we decide to, middle of the year, throw in a new e-resource database or anything like that. North Bend storage, this one is a big one that's new. We have no storage in this building because our lift broke. Well, we don't really have storage anyways, but our lift broke. So our only storage, which is upstairs, is only accessed by a very crickety spiral staircase. And I'm not carrying heavy boxes up and down the spiral staircase. So they had been collecting in my office, and anybody that's seen my office, it is a like janitor's closet. It's very small. So I was being overwhelmed with boxes because that's all the books for fair, and it's a very large, it's like 3,000 books. So it's a lot of books. Plus we have a huge tent that takes up a lot of space. So I did some shopping around in town to find secure storage somewhere. The only place that had spots available, period, but they also had some climate controlled, so I won't have any book damage. So that is what that's for. So we are now have all of our ESO extra stuff stored there at North Bend Self-Storage in North Bend.
That's an annual fee.
I pay monthly, but yeah,
But
it's, yep. Yeah, I think I pay $120 a month, I think, something like that.
Stacy, what's the North Bend rent? Just that mean?
We used to have a server, physical server that was over at North Bend. And so it took up a pretty good portion of Haley's space. So we paid her rent for that, but now it's all, that has been all removed, right?
I believe so.
Okay.
I hope so.
They took a couple years to finally get it all out once they went, because our servers are all digital now, so they're all on the cloud somewhere in some base server. Yeah, it's been, knock on wood, working so far. And that was like what, 2021. It's been years since that. And for some reason I threw it in last year's budget, even though I didn't have it in the year before. Not sure why. but I did. Let's see. Unique is our, that's the parent company for MessageBee, which is so we can send text reminders to all of the patrons. Not hold text, text, oh my gosh, I can't talk. Hold notices through text. And we pay for it by the bucket of text. So we get like several thousand texts in one lump sum. So that we started it last year. So I'm not really sure how fast we're going to be going through those buckets. The buckets are, I think, about 1,500 a piece, and I don't remember the amount. So it could be a lot less than that, but the 5,000 that was actually done last year, excuse me, was from the setup. So there was like lots of setup fees and things. So 3,000 might be closer, but I want to make sure that we have it because it's for us and Curry. Curry pays us back for a portion of it. And then Westlaw, we don't have anymore. I don't know why I don't have Wix. Oh, Wix is, I pay every 3 years. That's why it's not on there.
What is that?
Wix, that's where our website's hosted. The cooslibraries.org website's hosted. And then, no questions on contractuals? Kathy?
So between 2024, 25 and 25, 26, there's a $34,000 difference. What I'm hearing is some things went up, some things you listed that you hadn't previous listed.
Mm-hmm. So what we've used, what our estimate for this year is 165. What we budgeted was 189. So in the budget, it went up 10,000. The actual estimate is just an estimate. So any of those numbers could be higher. That's just my estimate.
So the 190 is
The 199?
19060.
Oh, over here.
Yeah.
This really is kind of
Oh, this is-
irrelevant. This was just me doing, I can't even remember what I used that for. This is just
Okay.
math. So what we budgeted last year is the 189. 165 is what I'm estimating that we'll use this year. And then this is what our budget is for next year. So it's a $9,600 difference.
Between the 189 and
Correct.
199.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
I'm really just trying to.
No, you're fine. There's a lot of,
educate myself
you're
on the
right.
budget.
There's a lot of numbers here, so. Internet, we have the two internet providers. We have DFN, which is all libraries except Powers. Ziply is Powers because they don't have DFN out there. One day. This, I just kept it the same. It doesn't really change all that much. The only thing that really changes is this is just for our percentage. E-rate pays for roughly 80%. We pay for 20%. And this is what we pay. So the only real difference could be if that E-rate percentage goes up or down. It's usually like 2 or 3% plus or minus to the 80%. So, but this, as you can see, I'm estimating that will be about 12,000 this year.
So
I
does
just kept it the
E-rate
same.
come under IMLS? IMSL?
That's different.
Oh, it's a different.
That's a whole
funding
different
cycle?
thing.
So where
Yeah.
does this where's the E-rate
So
come from?
they're both E-rate. This is E-rate.
No, I mean, where does the money come from?
It comes from USDA. Or not USDA. USAC. I know this. I can't remember what it's called, but it's a government program.
Is that EFC?
No,
USAC.
USAC, that's it. Yeah. So it's a gov,
The Federal Communications Commission.
Okay.
That one that I have.
It's not an easy,
That's kind of where I'm going.
yeah, it's not,
School districts are dealing with the same thing with E-rate. I think for this year, I think they've been assured that it's probably gonna happen.
MLS is under siege right now, I know that.
So
Because
what
that's,
happens if the government says, no, we don't want to fund this anymore?
the question. We'll find money to pay it.
Locally,
I think a lot of that comes from your phone bills and like, the universal service fees. That's good for a lot of that money. Don't quote me on that.
They also, E-rate part of our, which will be later on, but part of our IT bill is also covered. There's certain things that E-rate can cover for that, for tech services also, that they pay a percentage of. It's only like, I can't even begin to describe certain parts of the computers they'll work on. They have to like separate it all out. And then E-rate will pay for a portion of that, or USAC will pay for a portion of that as
That's
well.
maybe 5% or,
It's 80.
80.
Yep. We pay, yeah, they pay the majority of it.
Oh,
And
but I
we
mean,
pay-
it's the IT part.
Oh, it's
Can you guess?
probably like a third.
A third.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of billable hours. I think we're at maybe a quarter, might be a quarter. It's a good chunk that they pay 80% of. Yes, and if it does end up getting canceled, then that will be something that we have to figure out.
Have a robust contingency.
Yeah, that's what our contingency's for. And library materials, this went up. Our digital content checkouts has been going through the roof. You'll see when we get to the digital content comparison later on in the ESO report, but I think we had like in January, we had like 1,200 audiobooks checked out, audiobooks through Libby checked out. And I think the month before that, it was like half that. So it just keeps climbing. So I have increased that budget. We eliminated several years back the physical budget for ESO. So ESO no longer puts any money into physical collection. We just pull from other libraries because and so our large prints are floating, and that's primarily what ESO uses because we go to the nursing homes. So large print is mainly, so a lot will float into our library and a lot will float into Coos Bay. So we always have a variety that outreach technician can go and pull for those. So having eliminated that, but we have now started to increase more the digital for that, because that's what people are wanting. They're liking the digital more these days. So that's what that increase, the $11,000 increase was on that. And mainly so there's two different ways you can buy. There's cost per circ, which is each time somebody checks out an item, we pay a fee. I try and keep them below $3. So for every checkout, it's $3. The other way that we can purchase is, so we're kind of like leasing the items, the digital item. The other way is that we can actually buy it, and we can either buy it, there's a couple of different methods where we can do a metered access, which is you get it for so many months for this price, or you get it for so many checkouts for this price. Or there's the other one where you get it unlimited, like you own it until you weed it out of your digital collection. Not all publishers, each publisher chooses the way that they want it. So some of them I can get cost per circ, which is the cheapest form for us, because some digital items can get, any new digital item is about $65 for us to buy. And it's usually a metered access, and it's good for 2 years. And then it's gone. So I try to buy cost per circ because it's the most efficient way. So that's where the majority of our budget in the past has always went to that. But now that we're getting so many more checkouts, those prices of those costs for circs are now up to the price of if we just bought the book. So I have added in here $12,000 for the metered access and the purchase outright. So that I can, because the cost for circs are still climbing, but that one is also, I'm needing to switch a bunch of those costs for circs over to the other model so that we'll be paying less for them. So that's where that difference came in. Does that make sense? Okay. Digital is very confused, can be very confusing. Okay. Equipment maintenance. This is where you'll see. So we have Biblioteca, that is our RFID tagging, and we have units, we have the checkout pads, the RFID pads that are, we have to pay an annual warranty on those. So the ones that were purchased by ESO, that's what that Biblioteca $1,600 is from. Bywater Solutions.
I have a quick
Yeah.
question. Are those the ones that you're using in the ESO office?
They're all the ones that I purchased when we did the full thing. So it's like one for everybody's. And then I think you had ordered one from us as well.
Okay.
So I pay for that one for yours.
Okay,
And then all of the small libraries, and then we have 2 in ESO.
okay. I just don't want to make sure I double pay.
And I have 2, so you're paying for one.
I think, yeah, because I bought one of your pads, I think.
Yes.
Yeah, so yeah, so I'm paying for that one too. They're probably thrown in there. I'll have to look and see. I might send you an invoice. Cause you have 2 or 3, right? 3, yeah, so I'll look and see. And then Bywater,
I have 4. Wait,
yeah, but I only bought one. You pay for your others.
yeah, but I don't think I'm paying for them.
Well, I don't know, it's a question for
Okay.
Biblioteca.
Yeah.
Maybe you didn't opt in for the warranty. I did on the pad.
Okay.
I don't know. I'll look at
one.
yours.
I need to be paying for the other 2.
Yeah, or however how many you have, yeah. And then Bywater is the company that hosts our Ask the Discovery, which is our public page for our catalog, and Koha, which is our staff page for the catalog. So that's what those numbers are, and they rarely change. Let's see, Executech contracted hours, that's the one that we pay 100% of. And then I have a little bit in the budget for overages. If they go, they're contracted for a specific number of hours each month. If they go over those hours, then they charge me per hour. So that is why I have the $3,000 on that one, just to cover any overages if it happens. And then the Executech MIBs is the ones that I was talking about that was covered. 80% of it's covered by E-rate. So what we pay of that is $6,100. $7,600. Automotive. This is all of the things needed to keep our vans running. And it's just, in the past, we've just had like a bulk budget, and that wasn't computing in my brain. So I broke it down, like the actual services that we have done every year and what they cost and all that, so that I could make better sense of it. So that's kind of what that is. And it is almost $4,500 lower than what we budgeted. Once it's gonna happen, so we just kind of always keep it at that. Knock on wood, hopefully nothing. Then ESO projects. The summer reading is the performers that I get for all of the libraries. I went a little crazy this year, which is why the estimate's a little bit higher, but I also had a really big carryover from my budget prior. So I figured the more variety and the more performers that the libraries get during the summer, the better. So I'm gonna try and keep myself to $15,000 next year. That's why that's what that is. Carson Block is a consultant that we've looked at in the past to go over our IT, to do an audit of our IT for us, because pretty much since we started using this IT company, Executech, we have had problems. And when they came in and set everything up, they set a bunch of stuff up wrong. Then they converted us from Google to Microsoft and set up a bunch of stuff wrong. So I have him kind of on retainer to use when we are ready to, because he will come in and he's a consultant for tech services. So he can come in and he can say, this is their responsibility. They should be doing this for you. This is how this should be happening. Instead of them saying, well, that just doesn't work. Because that's usually the response we get when things that we know should be working don't work. He said, well, that's just the way that it is. So I've had him on retainer. I had him on retainer last year. We're trying to figure out some tech stuff. And I don't want to bring him in too early. So that's kind of why that just cycled from last year to this year. We haven't used it. And then other projects, we always try to keep, I don't know why.
Is other projects what used to be tidal wave?
No, summer reading is what used to be Tidal Wave.
Oh, okay, so other projects has always been there.
And we've used that, I think we used that one year for RFID, just different things that we want to add in. We usually keep like $5,000 of, or if there's like something that we want to do program wise that's county-wide, that 5,000 is sitting there in case we need it. And we rarely use it. I, off the top of my head, cannot remember what the 17,000 was this year. But I know part of it was paying Teresa back, because when we did the RFID for all the, so North Bend, Coos Bay, and Bandon did their RFID tags on all their material. And we came to a decision that the ESO was going to pay for all the rest of the libraries to have all their books tagged. And in the time of me doing it, Teresa had hers already going. So Teresa went ahead and got hers started. And so the items that I was paying for all the other libraries, I reimbursed Coquille Library back for what I would have paid for hers if it hadn't been
I'd have
separated.
slowed down.
Huh?
If I wasn't so quick, I'd have slowed down a little bit.
Yes, if she would have taken a breath.
I was told to not do anything in the beginning.
So that's where some of that came from. And that's pretty much that. Let's see. I'll go back to the actual main budget just to see if anybody has any questions on that. Okay, go for it.
Under petroleum products.
Yes,
Is this just for gasoline for 2 vehicles?
3. We have the 2 courier vans and then the ESO Jeep.
I thought there's 2 couriers.
Yeah, we have 2 of the big vans. We have one that's used for outreach and then one that's used for the actual courier route between all the libraries.
A van that goes to all the libraries.
Mhm.
The other one is.
Is outreach. So
Oh,
she
outreach.
she takes parts of books to nursing homes. She uses it to deliver the books to our different satellite stops that we have
Right.
that are just like read and return type books.
And the third is.
It's the ESO Jeep. It's technically the ESO director's vehicle, but Jennifer got it because she had this ambition of visiting all of the libraries regularly. I don't have time to fit that in my schedule. So it gets driven, like it gets used for fare and gets driven here and there so that it keeps running. I think eventually we'll probably think about possibly just getting rid of it. It's,
Maybe downsizing to a small car.
it is a small car. It's a
Oh.
little Jeep Compass. Like,
Oh.
you can't get much, it's like a Matchbox car. It's pretty small and it gets really good gas mileage. That's kind of why we've just kept it. Anytime that I do travel to any of the libraries or anything, I have to claim my mileage through the city and it's an ordeal. And so the city's actually the one that recommended that we get the vehicle. Coos Bay now has one too, because the city, it's a lot cheaper than to just do it that way than to go through all the reimbursement stuff on our personal vehicles.
So the petroleum products are gas for these.
Correct. And it's higher than it needs to be, but the reason that we keep it higher is because we never know what the gas prices are gonna do. And I have to keep those vehicles running.
And so this doesn't really pertain to this, but it does, because after this page, there's a page where there's like the first one says cell C48 and it says
Yes.
comment Stacy.
So those are
Under
all of
budget.
the notes on the spreadsheet. So all these little red triangles.
So where do you find cell?
Well, it's hard to do on the printout, which I didn't realize when I was including that it would be
Oh, I
harder
see.
for you guys to
Oh, I
find.
see.
But yeah, they're just all of
Numbers
these
on the
little
side.
notes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I couldn't figure that out for the life of me. I know a little bit of bookkeeping, but
Yeah, and these are more so, I didn't really need to include them for you guys. They're more for my reference when I A, build the budget and B, answer questions for the commissioners so that I have little notes for myself.
so do you go in front of the commissioners? and
Yeah.
Present this
Mhm.
budget?
Yep, at the beginning of next month.
Do you know who took John Sweet's seat?
No, I didn't know John Sweet was no longer there.
He retired.
Drew Farmer.
No, he took Bob's.
You took Bob's.
John hasn't retired yet.
I don't think so.
I thought he did.
Not that I'm aware of.
No.
Sorry, I apologize.
It's okay.
Stacy?
No, just want to sit in the front.
I actually made my own copies.
Wow.
I'm good, I'm moving. Okay. So when you're bad, you go to the front table right next to the teacher.
Yeah, right. Yeah, so did you need me to go through any of those?
No,
Okay.
I was just confused.
Okay, yeah, I probably shouldn't have included them.
Yeah.
I just went
All
through
right.
group print and then I looked at it and
I
when
mean,
you said that, I'm like, well, they don't know what the cells are.
I mean, I read all the notes.
They probably didn't make much sense.
Kind of.
Okay, good. All right. Do you have any questions about the budget?
Yours?
The new one, yeah?
Yeah, you guys probably already talked about that.
That's okay.
So, library books and records,
Uh-huh.
how come it went down so much?
It went up.
Well, I don't know, I'm looking.
Oh,
Council adopted 100,000.
correct.
Actual expense, and then you're gonna say 51
Yeah.
grand, that's half.
So it's actually, technically it's going up. What happened is I had like $240,000 that I didn't spend the budget year before that.
Okay.
So that then rolls over into my budget and they have to put it in different line items. So they added to contractual, they added to library books, library material, and I think one other one. So yes, it looks like it dropped, but it didn't really, because it was just extra money that I didn't spend that then was back, because it happens in like October. So budget's adopted in July, and then in October, once they close everything out, you'll have like this lump sum if you're really good with your budget and you don't spend it all, that they then now have that they'll roll into that current budget. And that's what that is from.
Okay.
So they have to put it in places.
We were in space and
We used to. Yeah, so Bandon is the hub for Curry and Coos to meet to transfer items. And we used to take up a pretty big portion of their back room with books of ours going to Curry County and then books from Curry County coming here because the drivers didn't meet, so it would all just get stored. Now we have it set that they're there at the same time, so they just literally transfer from one truck to the other truck, and so we don't use that space anymore.
North Bend rent.
That was for our server. We used to have a physical server room, and Haley was the only one that had space not being used, so it got stuck in her library.
Okay.
We're now all digital, so we don't have the space, so we gave it back to her.
Cool. And I have just a general question about Hoopla, not the money amount. Does ESO pay for Hoopla for all the libraries and?
The goal is that we will eventually. That's what that 10,000 is for. We haven't actually implemented that yet. We would basically pay for a base package for all of the libraries. And then if they want to add in additional packages on top of that of more materials, then they would do that on their own.
Yeah, because you guys can correct me, because right now, if somebody checks out something from Hoopla at the Coos Bay Public Library, for example, there's a fee that the Coos Bay Library pays, and it's just by the book, right?
Yep.
So you're talking about paying kind of a base subscription level. So
Yeah,
the cost would be easier.
they have like packages that you can get where only specific things are available and they can spend inside whatever that set amount is. So it's kind of like a budget that's set specifically for that.
Okay.
Not all libraries have that.
Yeah, I know.
But yeah, Coos Bay and
That's-
North Bend are the only ones.
That's the reason why I was asking
Yeah.
about that $10,000. I was wondering if you're gonna do something to try to make it available. Because my personal experience is it's great, because if you go to the other one, Library to Go, there's usually a big long waiting list and a
Yeah.
set to get in. And Hoopla is so much
Yeah.
better from the standpoint of getting a digital thing. One last thing, and because these people are getting upset with me already. And it's just a question, I don't know what it is. Say subscription principal on the first page. We say subscription interest. Just tell me, what is that?
Oh, you of course would ask that question. That is from is that down at the end?
Yeah,
Okay, so we lease our ESO vehicles through Enterprise. So I don't do anything with that. The finance figures out the numbers because they work with Enterprise and then they tell me what to put. So
Yeah,
I
there's-
don't really have an
there's the
answer.
enterprise principal and interest, but
Uh-huh.
below that is the, so I understand that.
I think the subscription principal and interest is probably subscription to Enterprise. I would guess.
Okay, man.
I don't really know.
I was just curious because the subscription principal is 35,000, which is a fair amount of money. So-
Yes,
Okay,
I do not know that answer, but I can find out that answer.
I'm done. And thanks for emailing me that stuff, because I still have a difficult time getting it. I really appreciate it. I'm done.
That's fast. Anything else? Do you have any others?
ESO employees, you plus how many?
We have, currently I have 3 full-times besides myself. There's 4 full-times, and then I have a cataloger position that is, it's like a temporary position. It's a very, very, very part-time. The cataloger that I had though, retired. So there is nobody filling that position right now. Mhm.
Stacy's at like 4.5 FTE.
This 4.25. Yeah, 'cause she's a temp and she'd have to be part-time in order to be.
Okay.
Yeah,
When you
4.25.
lease a car, do they take care of all the problems or?
No.
It's almost like you could buy van for what you're leasing,
It is cheaper.
really?
It's substantially cheaper.
Wow.
And you don't have the depreciation that way because every so many years, they just replace it with a new vehicle as opposed to every 4 years, like our courier van has almost 200,000 miles on it already because it travels the county every single day, 6 days a week. So, they have a lot of wear and tear. So they're about $80,000 to outfit one of the vehicles, to purchase and outfit one of the vehicles. So to lease it and then every 4 or 5 years, they just replace it with a new one, take that one back. So in the long run, it's substantially less money. Anything else? All right. Anybody else have any questions about the budget? No? Okay. All right. Thanks. I got to myself and make it worse because I have to break everything down into itty bitty pieces
It's very helpful.
to make sense.
Me
Yeah.
to understand and.
Good.
Probably if the public was interested, they would understand both forward that you would more complete job. So thank you.
This informational or do you?
I don't need a motion. As long as you guys don't have any issues with it. I did go over it with the city as well. I tried to schedule a meeting with them and they said, why do you need a meeting? It looks fine. So, okay, so that's where we ended up with that. All right.
Percentages for all libraries, is that where we're at?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
So that's the next section that you guys have here. And this is, I did all of the spreadsheet work to calculate what each library is going to get based on the formula that we adopted. Well, since our last meeting, we met with the commissioners and the commissioners looked over it. Their one main concern was a couple of them thought that population might have looked a little fishy, I think was the word that they used. So I've actually been working on trying to break the population down in a spreadsheet. They approved it. They said it looks great. The only thing that maybe in the future, we could go back and look at the population again, just to make sure that all of the cities and all the cities unincorporated portions are being spread the way that they should be. So I kind of started that, then I fell into budget stuff, and so that kind of got pushed to the side. But I will keep working on that. But other than that, the commissioner said pretty much that it looked fine with it and that they are, we're good to go forward.
If the state and the county is using the population chart for all their items, you would think it would be correct.
Well, our districts are a little bit different. The library districts are a little bit different. So we get our numbers from PSU that populates them every year, and then they run them off the census every 10 years. Then in between, they add in the amount of births and deaths and relocations into and out of the different pockets to create new numbers every year in between. And then the directors got together in 2019 and created the map of our county, because it's basically off of the school districts, but then there's some like weird unincorporated ones that kind of fall in between. So those, they went in and the directors went in and fine tuned those areas and then came up with percentages, and those percentages go to the state library, and then state library figures those percentages from PSU's numbers and then sends us and says, this is what all of your populations are. So basically what I'm been doing is comparing the PSU numbers, because they have each city's incorporated, so like inside city limits, and then an overall unincorporated. So that's kind of what I'm looking at, is that overall unincorporated, just to make sure that we have it calculated correctly. So that's kind of where I'm at with that. It's probably gonna be,
Sounds grueling.
I enjoy spreadsheets, but it is very time consuming. So it kind of got pushed a little bit, but I am working on that. But aside from that, they said to go ahead with what we had. So that is what is here. The blue highlighted on that page is the percentages that each of the libraries will get of what's left of the county funds after ESOs is subtracted. And then the percentage below that is the difference between last year's and this year's. That makes sense. And then behind that is all of my many spreadsheets that Haley created. And then, of course, I had to break it down further and give you more information than you probably needed, but it's all there. Any questions on that?
Yeah.
I figured you would. What's
Well,
up?
it doesn't have to do with the numbers per se, because I went out to that county commissioners meeting too, and I remember that. And when I worked for the federal government, I had to do a service area review every 5 years, and we use PSU numbers because in Oregon, they're kind of gold standard for populations. And I think the difficulty has always been, what's the service area of the library and dividing up the unincorporated areas. And I mean, I think there was a general, when this all passed, that's what was. So that's just what I think we were talking about.
Mhm.
That's not my question. I know that when we came up with this formula, there was a provision in there, and I just need some clarity. There was a provision in there to accommodate libraries that have extended closures. Right, and we basically said, hey, we'll make some modifications. I was just curious as to how does that work? Does the library say, gee, we were closed for so long, can we modify the formula because of this time period? Who do they send it to? That's the place who makes the decision. And I only bring this up because of North Bend. Because I look at this quarter now that they're in, and they were closed a substantial amount of time. And so from my point of view, it would be unfair to look at their circulation level for that quarter. But I don't know the procedure for doing that. And, for doing that, because it seems like once you decide, yeah, we're going to do it, it'd be an easy thing to do. You just take last year's first quarter and always use that in the computation formula going forward for 2025. So what's the procedure for someone being able to do that?
Well, ironically, Haley's the one that worked on all that, so.
There is an addendum to the formula document that the Coos Library Board approved that has a procedure for that. And the basic outline of that is that the library presents their request to the Coos Library Board, and it has to be for a specific range of dates. And the Coos Library Board either approves or denies that request, and then the dates are substituted.
Okay.
The date range is substituted.
Yes. Because I'm just thinking it's probably something that's going to come up, and it would be nice to know for sure how that's going to work. Because, from the standpoint of equity, you don't want to penalize somebody because they had to be closed for something.
So we would bring, from the North Bend perspective, I think we would bring that request prior to the next budget cycle, because that's when it would go into effect.
Okay.
Or would begin to impact the
Right.
calculations.
Okay. Sorry, I missed your grand opening. Congratulations.
Thanks.
I was there today to pick up her meeting owl, and it looks really good inside. I missed it as well because we had a bug going around our house, and I didn't want to take it to everybody. All right. Anything else on that distribution?
Moving on,
Very much.
library board open seat.
So we have 3 of your guys's that expire this year. Lori has served 2 terms with us and it expires this year. So she will be done as of June. Is it 30 days? June 30th. The other one, Kathy's first term expires and Barbara's first term expires. So you guys are eligible for a second one.
I'd like to stay.
I think I will have to read into our master plan, but I think I need to have you guys fill out new forms again and it goes into a pool. But yeah, so those are the 3. Out. Gather applications for them. So if anybody knows of anybody inside those zones, so your guys are both rural. No, you're small cities in Dora. And then Lori, you are out of town?
I'm North Bend outside city limits within District 13 or 9. Whatever are we? No, we're District 13.
Yeah. Okay. So, that's pretty much all I have about that. And then I'm gonna try and get it done here within the next week so that I can get get it posted on the website and get the directors to start scouting Haley mainly, because that's that one. And then and then I'm really hoping they'll actually have it wrapped up by July 1st this year. I'm gonna set a goal
To 2 years later.
as opposed to, it's not usually
I have a
2
question.
years, it's the end of the year usually.
Does Kathy and Barbara's seats just roll over if they want them, or do they?
It kind of goes through, it'll go through, so if we get any other applications in, then they'll go into that slot for that one as well. Generally in years past, they have stayed on.
Sure.
But we do accept applications for those seats as well.
Publicize that. Jason, does that go out to the county?
I post the application on the Coos Library's website, and then I will forward it on to all the directors too. And if you fall within any of those zones, then you can also batch them out.
Stacy, I don't know how the other ones work, but since I recently applied and got approved for Coos Bay, the Coos Bay City Council always makes everybody reapply. And I don't know if that works for the other ones,
Mhm.
And then there's that, which was, to me personally, as crazy as that North Bend has to approve it too,
Yes.
and then it goes to the county commissioners. So
Yeah.
anyways, Coos Bay, I know, makes whatever commission or board you are on, they make you reapply when your term is up. And because there's that time delay, because it has to go from them to North Bend.
Correct.
To Coos County.
That's where I always get stuck and I don't do it soon enough.
I was gonna say, it's one of
The
those.
solution that Kathy and I are both in goes to all the small libraries.
Jesus.
Yes. Yes. Yeah, it does. Everybody but Coos Bay and North Bend. And that's why Coos Bay and North Bend councils have to approve or cities have to approve each other's, is because they are just the 2 oddballs that don't fall in the small library category. Yeah.
But if you want to get somebody on by July 1st,
I know. I always mean to start this in December and then things at the beginning of the year just go crazy. So I try and give like a month for collecting. So by middle of April, hopefully we'll have a decision and then we can start that process. But I think that's all that I have for that one.
Okay. Chair and vice chair elections. Who wants to be the chair? Volunteers?
That's kind of a loaded question. 2 of us might not be here.
No, there's that.
Can we elect you as chair again
Well,
and deal with the
if I read,
repercussions later if you choose not to?
you know, I'm a big believer that this position should rotate. Are you ready? You were.
I mean, I would be willing to. It's not like we meet all the time.
And it's probably going to not be like it was last.
It's not, because we don't have the distribution stuff to deal with.
We'll be meeting quite as frequently and frantically.
What's the role of the vice president?
You gotta take over for the chair when they're not available. So basically what Barbara does now, if Adrian were to take that over and he wasn't here, that would be the vice chair.
But they get to vote, the vice chair.
Oh, yeah.
I think they all vote.
Yeah, everybody votes.
President doesn't.
Doesn't?
Yeah.
I've been voting.
Oh,
Yeah, I think the
Yeah.
chair usually can vote, but just can't introduce motions.
oh, okay.
At least that's the way it works most
To
places.
read
Yeah.
the bylaws, I didn't check that out before.
No, because they're always part of the quorum. So, yeah.
I could do the vice
Okay.
chair.
Is
So I
that
can
like
vote.
sort of a motion kind of thing? Adrian, right?
Yeah.
Would be the chair and Kathy would be the vice chair?
I would make that motion.
Cool.
Need a second.
Can I second?
I think you can second. You just
Okay.
can't motion.
I second. All right, motion and a second on the floor, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
I would like that motion.
Okay. Ready?
I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Your, yes, I'll report.
Okay.
Thinking over yet.
Yeah.
She's ready. Okay, so we have ILL stats and they have just been, slowly increasing over the last couple of years. She's really ramped up her loans, which is our books that we send out to other libraries around the United States. It's more than double what we borrow. It's hard for us to increase the stats of what we borrow because that's just what our people ask for. And if they don't ask for it, then they can't increase. But she's really doing a good job of pulling them off of the site to fill and send out our stuff, which is only helping our stats more and more. The next page is just her breakdown of what libraries, they're all color coded. So which of the libraries are lending, how much they're lending and how much they're borrowing. Moving on to Bookshare statistics. These are our satellite, we call them satellite carts that are around the county that they're like read and return at your will type carts that we have in places where the people that frequent those places have a harder time getting into libraries. Most of them are in town here. Actually, I think as of now, they might all be in town here. We've tried them. We had one in Myrtle Point and one in Fairview, and they just didn't get traffic. So, and it's a long trek for my outreach person to get out there when nobody's borrowing. So we've dropped those over the years. We did add 2 new ones. We added in the Kids Hope Center. So we are now circulating children's books for those kiddos that have to visit the Hope Center. And then Berea Hospital, and you can see Berea Hospital is like almost all the other ones together is how much we're lending there. I've been trying to get Bay Area Hospital to have a satellite card there for years, probably since 2001. And I could never get in touch with the right person. And then randomly, somebody from the hospital contacted Coos Bay Library and said, is there any way that we can have somebody come here and bring us books? And we said, great. So my outreach person contacted them, and they now have it's for public use. They have groups of volunteers that volunteer at the hospital, and they have a cart that they take around. My outreach person takes them new books. They take that cart and they visit all of the patients that are in the hospital's rooms, and they can browse the cart, take books or magazines that they want. And they actually have a lot of people that bring in donations too. So she pulls a good amount, about half of what she drops off, she pulls out in stuff that's been donated to us that she can then use on different carts, keep on that cart. But it's been doing, she's done 400, she's dropped off 417 items this year.
Are the things on your carts cataloged?
No, they're just read
I
and
was trying to
return.
figure that out.
Yeah, no, these are, we used to pull a lot of discards from Coos Bay before they went to, the sales. We would pull out all the really nice ones and put them on the carts. Now my outreach technician is really good about all of the lobby stops that she visits, the people that she interacts with at the satellite carts, with getting donations from them. So we have quite a good influx of materials coming back to ESO that just people in the community that she's spoken to want to donate to ESO for those carts. So she's actually been rotating out a lot. We kind of got stagnant for a while. We didn't have a lot of donations. So it was kind of the same books. We're just kind of circulating all the carts. But now she's got a lot more new ones. And the Kids Hope Center, she took 18 books in October, and I was just at her desk before I came over here, and she's probably got another 20 or so that she can drop off to them again.
Oh, the libraries will be getting books or something.
Yeah, if you have in DC, yeah, we try and keep, quality, good material, like, good updated material.
But you've got a little bit of storage space.
Yeah, we actually have shelves in where our ESO's physical collection is stored. We have a couple shelving units in there that are specifically for her satellite carts. So, yeah, if any of the directors have anything, or if any of the board members have books that they want to donate, ESO is always willing to take them. Or anybody else.
And anything specific?
Not really. We have, each cart kind of, wherever it's located, it kind of has its genre that the people like the one in Charleston, that the people that frequent that like cookbooks and Western books for some reason. And then they have, she delivers to the jail, and they have anything that has no violence in it. And so each cart kind of has its own little genre, but she'll really take anything, regular print, large print, DVDs.
The jail don't have to be just paperbacks.
The jail has to be paperback, and it can't have any violence. I think it's their rules.
The book's right there.
I know, right?
And you do take magazines, Susan?
Yep, she takes magazines, yep.
Cause I get a lot, I get current ones and I read them, and, it's a month, and if I donate them to the friends, they usually go out for 10 cents or whatever.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, that would be amazing.
Cause I'm thinking people in the hospital, probably a magazine would be a good thing.
Yeah, they really go through a lot of the magazines. Yeah. That'd be great. She got a huge box of Nat Geos, like years and years and years of Nat Geos that she's been putting out at certain places, and people are loving them. So
if I
yeah,
get more of those, do you want? Or always donating those to her.
I would think so. Just email Molly and see what she wants. She knows better than me because she knows what her people like. Oh, it was Nat. She got the most recent one was Nat Geo in Braille.
Oh,
Somebody passed away that had like, yeah, so.
well, that's interesting because the, is the pictures.
But if you can't see them, you still might want to read the story.
Yeah.
I don't know, it was a huge box because each one of those is humongous. Okay, so next is the pop-up statistics, and these are books by mail that she sends out to patrons that are homebound, that can't make it into a library. So she sends them out to people's houses and then they mail them back to us when they're done with them. And then lobby stops, which are care facilities that she visits. She did add a new one, Sapphire and Myrtle Point. So that one has been added this year as well. And I apparently didn't get the totals on that one. Then our digital content comparison. This one has all of our digital databases that we subscribe to, ESO subscribes to for the entire county. And then all of our digital content is here. And this is kind of what I was talking about earlier. We went from, let's see, it was around 650-ish for the cost per search. And then in 600, in December, it jumped up to 800. And then in July, it jumped up to 1200. February went back down to 9.5. So it just shows that those are still increasing. Once COVID, it was kind of a small thing that some people liked, and then COVID hit and people got hooked on those, and they just keep going. And they really like the audio books. They really like that collection of digital audio books. And no questions on that. Move on to our current budget. And we are 59% elapsed. My materials is at 59.4. But like I've stated in the past, some of those are annual payments. So it just keeps going down kind of as we go further. But our total overall expenditures is 47.5 for the year, for the year so far. And that's pretty much all I have. There's no questions on that.
Okay, any other questions? Moving on. Director's reports. Let's start with Amy. No. Okay, Letty, do you want to say something?
You're muted.
Turned it off and then it went back on.
You never know.
Technology's so wonderful when it works and so crappy when it doesn't.
Right? I agree. It doesn't want to let you talk. No, almost.
Okay, so let's move along around here and then. Teresa.
So things are going really good. We just started our Friday adult programs. Will start April 1st, the first Friday in April, and we'll have movie matinee followed by age cafe, followed by chair yoga, and then cook the book club. And then on the 5th Friday, we'll have computer. We'll pick a subject like Facebook or email or use a mouse according to what people say. So 11 to 1, computer.
North Bend Public Library is open.
Yay.
After some construction delays related to our lighting, which was a huge part of our project. We need new lighting in all of the public parts of the building. We reopened on Saturday. We had a great opening reception, lots of folks in and really enthusiastic about the library. And I just want to invite everyone here to come by and see the improvements that we've made if you haven't done so yet.
No more pit.
No more story pit. However, we have a temporary wall where that was because when we dug in to fill into that area, we discovered that we had a really significant amount of water infiltration happening there because of the window. And so the window has to be replaced. And rather than finishing out that area while there's still water coming in, we put up a temporary wall. And we expect that we'll have that new window installed sometime in late April or early May. A few things still in progress, but we're open. So please come visit us.
We added a new staff member this year. She works part-time for Haley in North Bend, and she's working Thursdays and Fridays for us out in Lakeside. And she's developed a program for teens on Friday afternoons. They get off early, so she's been having cooking classes and homework help, and she's doing some things with plants, and she's gonna make sushi one day. She's a ball of energy, so we love being able to add that staff person on to be able to offer something for our teenagers. We're right in the middle of planning some adult program. Lakeside bread and butter, the old folks, and they are really wanting some help with computers and phones, those two things. I'm really excited because my friends group, since I've been there, has been sitting on this $35,000 that was a bequest to them. And they didn't want to touch it. They wanted to keep that for a building fund, and they kept, hanging on to it. And they did have, finally, someone speak up and say, can't we do some refreshing in the library and remodeling? And after a lot of discussion, they finally have approved that. So now I'm kind of on the hunt for someone who can come in and give us some ideas about how to rearrange things and get some new shelving and new tables and change the flooring and all those things, which is fun to look forward to. Really fun. Because we haven't had anything like that since I've been there.
Is there any way you can add on to that building?
No. Our ninth city manager. You can imagine, I've been there 11 years there. So there's no continuity, there never has been with the city. So there's never been a plan to improve anything until just recently. There was a COVID grant that back in, COVID times, the city applied for 3 city managers ago. And the new city manager discovered that she had to have it spent by a certain date or it was going to go away. So she quickly got together and they're relooking a senior center, which the reason I'm bringing that up is always everyone thought that would be condemned. And so that's where the library might move, expand into. But now they've decided to keep that building and they're just putting some money into it. New roofing and flooring, the new electrical, new heating. So I doubt any time in my lifetime that they'll decide, well, with the things are going to Lakeside, that see that happening. So it's pretty exciting. They're going to, the friends have held on to their purse strings. Let me just say, they've been, raising money since I've been there. And so they're really great about helping us write grants and doing all kinds of little things for us, but they've not been willing to dip their toe into like buying some new tables. So I'm really excited about it. But I'm no architect, so I'm looking for some outside help to come in and give us some examples of what, with the limited space we have, that someone can actually do. So anyway, that's happening.
Let's see, we also have a new person, part-time,
She's working the front desk. Her name is Susie, if you see her, very nice young lady. Yeah, we have a lot of programs. Zumba's coming back next month due to popular demand because everybody kept stopping by the desk and saying, when is Zumba coming back? So Zumba is coming back. So can we in here? Yeah, we do it in here. Yeah, we just put all the tables like into the children's area because we do it in the evening and yeah.
Are you still doing yoga?
Still doing yoga on Mondays, but some people wanted something a little more active. So, you know, you can go either way. Those two programs actually get more questions than just about anything. We've got Tolkien Day coming up where we're gonna have the movie go on. We're gonna have games and scavenger hunt through the library and whatnot for Tolkien Day. That's pretty much all I can think of right now.
Well, Letty?
I think can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay, I just had to disconnect my camera. Yeah, it's all connected. But here in Nora, as always, things busy. We started Kids Night the last Thursday of the fourth Thursday of the month. And the kids get to come and just play video game, listen to audiobooks, play with the Lego table and all the stuff that we slowly been working for a few months. And then we also started cooking class and it's been pretty successful. We've also got quite a few preteens that come with grandma or parents and, you know, our teacher, Tara Johnson, she is pretty good at teaching all the techniques on how to hold your knife and so you don't cut your fingers to all those things that maybe are little simple tricks, but it's been getting a lot of attention and now they call it our night out kind of thing because then they get to take dinner home and share with their family. So that's all in, of course, getting ready for summer reading and we're doing something different this year. So my brain is already in the summer reading program. And that's it.
Maybe we're not doing it.
Yeah.
Okay,
All right.
all right, well, next meeting, I guess, which we usually don't schedule until somebody decides we need one. So I think that's it. I think we're ready to adjourn this meeting at 1:37 p.m.
Right. You're right. Once you get everything put up.
Well. We put it on?
No, they're gonna. No, they didn't.